Hello and welcome to my Bioshock 2 machine gun guide. So unlike in the first game, the machine gun is definitely very strong in the second game. The reason I say the machine gun isn't very strong in the first game is because it just really isn't, especially in survival. But as you can see here, this is an unupgraded machine gun against a bouncer, and I am just destroying it with incinerate and armor-piercing rounds. So I killed that without even getting hit once. Now I have a little sister, so... Alright, so that's like kind of like the intro to this video, just kind of like quickly showing what it can do. So now let's just jump into harvesting. So I'm going to use incinerate with the basic rounds. This is actually quite a strong combination. Incinerate in this game is actually quite good, unlike in the first game where it's actually very terrible. In this game it actually does good enough damage to justify running it. It can also hit AoE, so like you can like charge it up and like hit multiple dudes. But basically you're just going to be moving around, setting things on fire to CC them, because it actually does CC in this game. And then just kind of shooting, running and gunning, like holding angles. So yeah, like the machine gun's actually quite strong in this game. I'd probably even give it like an A tier rating. Like this is unupgraded and we're already past the halfway point, so this is when enemies start to get stronger. And we just killed both a big daddy and did a rescue session like nothing in hard mode. So definitely worth running. If you want to invest in it, the upgrades for the machine gun are a damage increase, a recoil reduction, and then once you get both of those, you can get the ricochet mod, which causes bullets to ricochet. I don't find that to be too useful. The only upgrade I would recommend getting is just the damage increase. The reason for that is you're much better off saving your upgrades on something else, because the ricochet doesn't do much and the recoil reduction doesn't do much. You can just rapidly pull the trigger on your controller or left click to reduce the recoil. So here's me shooting normally. Here's me shooting, tapping really quickly. So, huge difference. Aiming down the sight does increase accuracy, so I was about at roughly this range, so I'm going to ADS. So you can see there that ADSing actually does matter. This weapon cannot headshot though, so you can generally just run and gun, which is kind of fun to do. Like, it's kind of fun to just like hit things with incinerate and just DPS them to hell. As you saw here with this Big Daddy, it just like messes up Big Daddies with armor-piercing rounds, so quite a good weapon actually. Let's get some ammo. So the ammo types, they're the same as they were in Bioshock 1. You have your standard ammo, which is actually decent. And then you have anti-personnel rounds, which just does more damage against splicers. Then you have armor piercing, which does increased damage versus Big Daddies and machines, turrets, security, and so on. So it's a very straightforward weapon. It has good damage outputs. You can kind of spam incinerate to good effect. So let's do another harvesting session, and then wrap up this video. So what I'm going to do is just hit things with incinerate that I want to DPS down, and then just like shoot them, and just kind of like use terrain to block bullets and like kind of dodge. So it's definitely a more dynamic way of playing. You can kind of hear me clicking. That's basically the speed that you have to click if you want to mitigate the recoil. So you can't always whack enemies. If you need to, like last second. Okay. Oops. Alright, so that's the machine gun. In open fights like that one, where you don't really have much cover, it's not the best. Obviously, you want to have as much cover as possible, but it can be difficult to both defend the little sister and to shoot foes, because you really need to stay on foes. Like, you can't just casually shoot them. You have to, like, stay on them and just keep unloading, like, bullets into them. That's the big downside, and also you can see there I went from, like, almost full ammo to, like, practically none. So it can be quite expensive to use as far as like ammo consumption is concerned. But it isn't a bad weapon. You can augment it with like burst damage. So like you can use like a spear or like rivets to deal with like tankier enemies that you want to headshot, and then just DPS the weaker ones down, and that can be very effective as well. So that is the machine gun guide. Overall, I would say it's a decent weapon. I usually tend to use it to save ammo on other weapons. Like if it's just like weak enemies, I'll just DPS them with this. But yeah, that's the end of this one, and thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you in the next one.